Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The 14th and final Polish flight bringing evacuees from Kabul landed today in Poland. The Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs has stated that the mission had to end because the security situation has quickly deteriorated. The ministry was proved right as two large bombs exploded today near the airport, killing at least 13.
Zawsze możecie liczyć na Polskę. You can always count on Poland.
The Polish evacuation operation from Afghanistan has come to an end. According to Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, a total of 900 people have been evacuated, including 300 women and as many children. Among the evacuees are Polish troops and members of the country's diplomatic corps, as well as Afghans who have worked with them. We have made a decision to end this evacuation operation. We are ending it today. Tomorrow the last transports from Uzbekistan will arrive in Poland. Britain and the United States want to complete their evacuation in the next few days. However, it is not known whether the United States will manage to evacuate the Afghans in time. Poland worked closely with other European Union countries. The head of the Prime Minister's Chancellery, Michał Dworczyk, has stated that Poland has fulfilled its obligations honourably. These were the people who were at risk, who expressed their willingness to leave. These individuals and their families were given the opportunity and we carried out that evacuation.
Having great friends like Poland at this difficult time gives us hope and gives us a strength. We seem like Poles have an element of resistance in our DNAs. So we can promise you that we will never bow down to any tyranny.
According to experts, the smooth execution of an evacuation operation in dangerous conditions shows the logistical capabilities of Poland. Poland was actually one of the few countries in the world that was capable of carrying out such an action. It had not only the technical means, but also the political will. The final flight of the Polish evacuation plane from Kabul marks the symbolic end of the Polish mission in Afghanistan, which lasted nearly 20 years. Among the victims of the mission in Afghanistan were 43 Polish soldiers and one civilian employee of the army. Nearly 400 soldiers were injured. The Polish army today started constructing a razor wire fence along its border with Belarus. The fence, which is meant to keep Middle Eastern migrants from crossing into Poland, is modelled on a similar construction built by Hungary to stop illegal migrants from entering the country through Serbia. Poland announced earlier this week that it will construct a 2.5-metre high solid fence on the border and double the number of troops there. Poland and fellow European Union states Lithuania and Latvia have reported sharp increases in migrants from countries such as Iraq and Afghanistan trying to cross their borders from Belarus. The European Union accuses Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko of orchestrating the arrival of thousands of people at the borders in retaliation for sanctions imposed on the former Soviet Republic. A group of migrants has been trapped on the Polish-Belarusian border in the open air for over 2 weeks, drawing condemnation from progressive activists who accuse the Polish authorities of inhumane treatment, despite the fact that the migrants are still on the Belarusian side of the border. On Wednesday, the European Court of Human Rights ordered the Polish and Latvian governments to provide aid to migrants camping near their borders. How that is to be done is unclear, as Poland has already offered aid to the migrants, but the Belarusian authorities have denied the Polish trucks the right to cross the border with Belarus. Poland has said responsibility for the migrants ultimately lies with Belarus. Hundreds of Greek healthcare workers marched through Athens today to protest against the government's new policy of mandatory vaccinations for those working in the healthcare sector. Healthcare workers who have not had at least one shot of the vaccine by the 1st of September will be suspended indefinitely from their jobs. Other new measures introduced by the government include ending free testing for the unvaccinated and obliging them to pay for their weekly tests to encourage them to get inoculated and head off any renewed spike in Delta variant infections of the coronavirus. But public hospital doctors and nurses worry that it is a punitive measure that will only make their job harder. We are resolute and will support our unvaccinated colleagues, both on the streets and in the courts. They consist of a tiny number and have for the last 18 to 19 months been on the front lines caring for patients in the COVID wards and have not ever become infected, and now they are being thrown out on the streets. According to POEDIN, the Union of Public Hospital Workers, the unvaccinated make up just 10% of hospital and emergency care workers. The healthcare workers held a 4-hour work stoppage and chanted, "This strike is just the beginning," during the demonstration. I'm here today because I want to support the constitutional right of every Greek citizen to say yes or no to vaccination. I personally am vaccinated, but I believe it is my colleagues' right not to get vaccinated if they don't want to. The measures come as Greece hit a new daily record of infections today with 4,608 new confirmed cases. The authorities said some 6 million people in the country of 11 million had already received 1 or 2 doses of the coronavirus vaccine, but that 1 million more were needed to build adequate immunity through the population. Tensions are rising in Bolivia following the attempted suicide of the former interim president, Janine Áñez, who cut her wrists in jail last Saturday. The suicide attempt came after further charges of genocide were filed against Áñez by the Bolivian General Prosecution Service for the deaths of protesters supporting the socialist former President Morales while she was in office. Supporters of Áñez organised a march calling for her release, but were brutally attacked by rock throwers supporting the Socialist Party. Fears are growing that the unrest could be the start of the resumption of large-scale political violence in the country. Political rivals faced off on the streets of La Paz on Wednesday when supporters of jailed former President Janine Áñez protested for her release. It comes after a report that Áñez harmed herself by cutting her lower arms while in jail. The police have categorised the incident as attempted suicide. Unfortunately, during this completely peaceful march, rocks were thrown at us. That is what happened. The ruling Socialist Party does not want peace. It wants violence. Áñez was detained early this year over accusations that she participated in a coup to oust longtime former President Evo Morales in 2019. She has denied the allegations and says she is a victim of political persecution. She is in jail while awaiting trial. Her daughter Carolina is calling for her release and thanks the 82-year-old human rights defender Amparo Carvalho for supporting the cause. We are asking that my mother receive the necessary medical attention, that the government stop trying to kill her. Now we are with Amparo Carvalho, who has demonstrated that she has the courage that all Bolivians need. Now it's not just about defending my mother's human rights, but also saving her life. Supporters of Áñez say that she is a political prisoner in the country, while detractors say that the former president should receive a lengthy prison sentence for her alleged role in violence. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.